Hey y'all, hey, it is 7:30 a.m. Yes, this is Lolita E. Walker, and I am so excited to come to you today right here on Breakfast with Champions across all of the platforms. I'm here to bring you just a little bit of coaching, cocktails, and conversations. Coaching is where I leave you just with a couple nuggets to challenge your thinking. Cocktails is not about what you're sipping on. It's all about celebrating the greatness of who it is that you are. And then conversations is the juiciness that we are about to have for the next 30 minutes. Are you ready? I am too. Let's go. And yes. So I am Lolita E. Walker. I'm a certified life, leadership, and executive coach. I'm a power speaker, and I come to you every single week on Thursdays for an amazing 30 minutes of pure power. Today, I am joined by the one and only James Douglas Walker, my brother, and he is here for the holidays. And I thought, why not jump into some coaching cocktails and conversations with JD? So JD, welcome to Coaching Cocktails and Conversations, also Breakfast with Champions, where we have 175 folks that are listening live. So I'd love for you to introduce yourself, tell them a little bit about yourself, what you do, and then we're going to bless them with a little bit of strategies today.
Fantastic. I appreciate this. This is my big sister, Lolita. I am JD Walker. I am a master level social worker. I'm a therapist. I'm licensed in Arizona, and it is a pleasure to be here with my big sis. She's been a major part of my life growing up, and I'm so proud of you, Lolita. Everything
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Love it. So let's get into it. Jacqueline said, good morning, Dr. Lolita E. Walker. Hey, Brother Walker. I love it. Yes, and yes. And then welcome, JD. Christina said. So listen, you guys, today, we only give you 30 minutes of pure power. And so this is JD's first time. He's never listened in. I don't even think you watched me on YouTube, have you?
I've seen you.
Oh, okay. Well, that is amazing to hear. So we're going to leave you guys with 5 strategies today. And, if you have been paying attention for the last couple of weeks, we've been talking about leaping into a renewed you. We've been talking about how to stand in the power of who it is that you are. We've been talking about all of the things. But today we're leaving you with 5 strategies on kickstarting the renewed you. Yes, it is the end of the year, but we still have some more time that's available to us. So the first strategy, and we'll go through all of them first, and then we'll come back. And of course, then we'll open it up to see if there's any live dialogue that we'll have. And this will be live on, it is live right now on Facebook. Hey, Coaching Cocktails and Conversations, on LinkedIn. Hello. And on YouTube. We are so excited to see you. So the first is strategize with simplicity, right? As we want to have this renewed start and this renewed and fresh us as we're walking into the new year, we talked about these 3 columns. I don't even think I've talked to JD about this. Was it last week or the week before? I talked to them about these 3 columns that they have. The first column was really all about when you think about ending your year, like, what did you do? A lot of times the negativity comes to mind, right? Oh my gosh, I didn't do this. So I said, just dump it all inside that first column. That's just first column. The second column was all about, but what did I do? What didn't make my vision board that wasn't on there? Like me starting my PhD, like running for office, winning office. Like, what's something that wasn't on your vision board or thought for the new year, but you did?
I think for me, I would even say making time for family. Even this here, I've not been in Maryland for 7 years. And I think even having this opportunity today was something that I did not plan, but it's something I saw the value in and I really wanted to do.
Oh, that's so good. So the point of that is really leaning and saying, you know what, here are some things that I really did do inside of this year that I want to give myself credit for. And then that last column was about the first column, all the stuff you didn't do. Which ones are you moving into the new year? And what I told them is that likely what'll happen, and what I've seen happen with my clients, is that not a lot of things move into that new year. Right. Sometimes we don't need to take the baggage from this year into the next year. So this S right here, strategizing with simplicity, is about thinking about what is it that I want to be, I want to do, I want to have, I want to experience by December of our next year, and then strategizing that with simplicity, not putting every single thing inside of your plan. As you listen to that, JD, what's some things you think about?
What I really like about this idea of strategizing is it has really two main components that speak out to me. The first component that it has is this idea of reflection. I love that you said that it's okay to remember your baggage, but that it's not something that you have to carry on. In reflecting, sometimes it is good to think about your baggage, because it is good to think about, is this something I carried in from the year prior into this year? And if it is, what are some things, what are some reasons why I carry this into this year? And what are some new strategies that I can use not to carry it into the next year, if it's not necessary? I also love this component of planning that you've talked about, because now that we've reflected upon what has not necessarily been the greatest thing in the world, how do we plan on making this, what could be perceived as negative, into something that's a lot more positive? And so I love this idea of planning, but planning on top of reflection. So yeah.
That's good, because we talked about proper preparation prevents piss poor performance. And so as we go into the next year, we want to make sure that we're planning properly and sitting on that reflection. Let's give some kudos and shout outs to some people who have already written. We see on YouTube, Dora Maria said, let's go, holla, and welcome JD.
Hey.
Yes. Christina Howard said, big sis, Dr. Lolita. Yes. And here's the thing. When people first started calling me Dr. Lolita E. Walker, I was like, I have not earned that yet, you guys. You can't really call me that yet. And then we just started about this notion of planning, this notion of accountability and strategizing, right? The simplicity of it all is, at the end of the day, you will be Dr. Lolita E. Walker. And this is what is holding you accountable to actually do that in those times. So I appreciate you guys. We have Jacqueline Underwood, who said twins. You think we look alike? I don't know, you guys. I don't think so, but we'll take that. We'll take it. Dr. Tangi said, good morning. How wonderful to be with your brother. I'm looking forward to these 5 strategies. Yes, we started on 1. Ramon Ray came in and said, I love the tag team. Yes, Lolita is on fire. Come through with this dialogue, JD, Jacqueline says. And then Mary Lynn says, I love seeing your brother after seeing old pics on Facebook.
Oh,
yes, yes, and yes.
Everybody.
Yes. So we're going to go into, that's the first strategy. And of course, when we open it up, we definitely want to hear from you guys as well, but strategizing with simplicity. Our second one for that T, because we're doing it in the form of START, START, for all of you guys that have your notebooks, and as well as my Coaching Cocktails and Conversations community and my podcast, make sure you all have your journals, your Coaching Cocktails and Conversations journals, and writing this down. Okay. This is all about the soul work of reflecting, right? Just like JD said, reflecting and then strategizing with simplicity. So for the T, we have talk it out loud. JD, what can you say about, just being able to talk it out loud? So after you've strategized with simplicity, after you properly plan, because you sit on your reflection, now it's time to talk it out loud. What do you think?
I think talk it out loud is a really great strategy. First of all, when you talk it out loud, it comes to life, and that's a big thing. You make it something very real. I love the fact that talking it out also adds one of the things that you mentioned, which is accountability, which is, this is something that I have to do. I'm owning this. I'm saying it out loud. This is mine to achieve. And I also love, for what it's worth, the intentionality behind it. This is a very intentional thing that you speak out loud. For those of you all, well, I guess you all wouldn't know, but my sister gave my daughter some of her affirmation cards, and it's something that I've given to my clients. Thank you, by the way.
Oh yeah.
Yes, indeed. And this idea of self-talk is huge. And so I love that this is one of the strategies that you've chosen today. It's a huge one, this accountability factor.
Yeah, I did. And you know what? I talk about this one affirmation all the time here inside of this room specifically, is I am the greatness that others have yet to see. Right? I am the greatness that others have yet to see. And sometimes that other is us.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes we have yet to see the greatness that's inside of us. And sometimes, you don't get what you want inside of that moment. And it could really go into our psyche and make us think that we're not doing well enough, that we're not good enough, that,
Right.
this imposter starts to sit in. And I think that realizing that I am the greatness that others have yet to see, you remember that God has created you to be great. And I am greatness, like I am greatness. So therefore, even though others don't yet see it, you got to know, you got to trust, you got to believe that I am greatness. So even when you're thinking that affirmation right there, you know, you strategize with that in mind. You strategize knowing that I am greatness. So how am I going to walk into my new year with simplicity? How do I talk it out loud? I love that, JD. I love you talked about, you know, talking it out loud makes it real, right? Talk it out loud. Talk your dreams out loud. Kate Volman says it all the time. Talk your dreams out loud. If I wasn't, I don't think I shared this with JD either, but if I didn't keep on saying like, hey, I want to have doctor in front of my name, I was saying it inside of this forum, and I talk it all the time, that then Dr. Sean Shapiro one day said, okay, have you applied? And I was like, oh, well, no, not really. I haven't applied yet. Everybody's heard this over and over again. But this story is so imperative to me because it talks about your community, and it talks about whether you're at work, at home, at life, talking about what your dreams are. And let's talk dreams right here. Dreams sometimes just means in the near future. Right? It doesn't have to be grandiose. So if we're talking about work, what is it that I imagine for December 31st of my next year? Let me talk that thing out loud. So now my boss knows, my peers know, other people in the organization know, so that when they're at the table, when we're not at the table, they can talk on behalf of us. Did it make you think of anything?
Well, a couple things. I don't want to take up too much time, but I love this idea of what you said when you talk it out loud. First of all, it allows you not to have a time frame. Like, you know, you're the greatness that others are going to realize at some point. That doesn't mean that they need to know when, but you know that you're working towards something. I also love this idea, the analogy that you gave of everyone at the round table sort of hearing what you are going to do, because what happens is when they see it come to fruition, it is this point of where everyone can celebrate and they have expectations of you as well. And it's something where they
It didn't mess up too bad. Okay, I think we're back. I think we're live. I think we're back. So, a couple of people said a couple things. I love the affirmations. Thank you so much. Christina Howard said, love the affirmation. I made it one of mine the first time I heard it. So good. Araya says, doing great, Dr. Lolita, my friend. And Ramon continues, oh, thank you so much to letting us know that we froze. We couldn't even see this, Ramon, that we froze. So thank you so much. Yes, we are back and on track. So we're going to keep on going. We did the S, the T, the A is all about assessing and accessing your Rolodex. Every time I say Rolodex, I start to laugh because I'm 45 and not everybody knows. You know what a Rolodex is, right?
Rolodex is,
okay. Yeah. We know what Rolodexes are. So for all of our young people out there that don't know what a Rolodex is, I said it to my son the other day and he's like, what is that? And I said, well, let me pull up a picture because it's hard to explain. It's this thing that has all your contacts in it. Just think that. It's a thing that has all of your contacts in it. You can scroll through and see who your contacts are. And oftentimes we don't go back and scroll through and see who is it that's in our community, whether or not we still want them in our playground, or how can we leverage them to help us? Because we talked about talking our dreams out loud. We talked about strategizing with simplicity. So now we're talking about accessing and assessing your Rolodex. What you want to say about that?
Well, I think that accessing your Rolodex is important. First of all, I think that it reminds us that we can, but we probably should not try to do things on our own. We should not try to, recognizing that we are the greatness that others have not yet seen is a big thing, but recognizing that there are others who are going to help become the greatness who we are. There's a saying, that old adage of it takes a village to raise a child. Well, it takes a village, it takes a Rolodex, it takes a contact list to be able to utilize, to say, I do need help, and this is what it is. And I think it's powerful because one day people are going to say, hey, I watched Dr. Lolita on her station, and I was a part of her greatness that other people were not able to yet see. And so I think that it also gives people a chance to be a co-author, or at least not necessarily a co-author, but to be a character in each one of our life stories. And I think that that's great to access and to assess the Rolodex that you have to utilize other people.
Oh, that's so good because I often talk about narrating your own
It's
story.
important. Yes.
Yes,
Yes.
you can
Yeah.
start today to narrate your story of the future.
Absolutely.
And we are not our past. We are not our circumstances. And I think far too often we sit inside of what didn't happen, what could have happened, what should have happened, and instead of just starting today. Today earlier, I heard someone talking about just start, just do it. Like the Nike sign, just do it. And sometimes the just do it is so daunting. And so that takes us into remembering and relying on your strengths, which is the R, because sometimes it's the how that people get stuck in. We talked about that before too. What if we just concentrated on the what, right? So that's the strategizing with simplicity, the talking it out loud, the accessing and accessing your Rolodex, and then now remembering and relying on your strengths. And so I want to open it up right now. Well, maybe I'll start with JD. What's one strength that you know without a shadow of a doubt that you have?
Um, I would say one strength that I have my my fatherhood, and I
Mhm,
say that because it's not something that comes with a manual. It's just something that I can see the evidence of each day, and over
mhm,
time, it is something that's been proven by my own standards, and I think that's important for us to recognize too,
mhm.
not by other standards, but by my own standard. It's something that I feel that I am. Successful at thus far, at least, and it's good to have evidence thereof each day
Mhm.
for me.
Yeah, yeah. And celebrating your wins, I think that whole thing about having evidence of each day, like how have I demonstrated that thing today? What is a small win that I want to celebrate today? And small wins are so important, even talking about it. And I've talked to you guys about putting up one inside of your home as well, to make sure that you can talk about what that is. Ramon said that, oh, here it is. Ramon said that he is not a detailed type of guy. However, what his strength is seeing the big picture. And so I think that the value is in that is knowing what your strength is. So if you know you can see the big picture of things, then you can get other people to execute and do the details.
The
But
Rolodex.
right, the
The
Rolodex. Oh
Rolodex.
yeah, look at JD bringing it all together. I love it. So we talked about strategizing with simplicity. And listen, all of this is in the notion of ending your year with power, recognizing how amazing and how great you are, recognizing the wins that you did have, looking and reflecting back on your current year, right? Looking and reflecting back and then taking what you want to add on to into the new year, if you want to do that. So you want to strategize with intention. The proper preparation prevents poor performance. You want to strategize with simplicity, lean on the past, but leap into the future. Then you want to talk it out loud. You want to assess and access your Rolodex, because sometimes our Rolodex has dust on it. I can say for me, there's probably, just with my goals that I have for next year, there's so many people that I have access to, but I haven't assessed them, like access them. I have access to, but I haven't.
Assessed.
No, I've assessed. Well, yeah, I guess I haven't
Because you need to
assessed who's in my
assess,
Rolodex.
right? Because this new year you have new goals, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Assess so that you can access, right? Exactly. The S's and the C's. That's what you want to do. You want to assess so that then you can access the right people inside of your Rolodex. And you know what? Here's the thing, you guys. We're leaping into a new year. Let's ask for help. Let's normalize the
absolutely.
ask. Okay. Let's normalize the ask, because I know sometimes I struggle with that as well. But we got to, if you don't ask, you already have the no. So we want to leap into it this year. And then the T, right? The T was all about taking that leap. JD, talk to him about taking that leap.
I think that take the leap is really an accumulation of the STAR. It really is just building the faith inside of you to take that leap. Life can't start until you start to believe in yourself. Like no one can believe in you until you believe in yourself first. And
Mm-hmm.
once that belief is there, even if it's I don't know if I can make it to the next ledge, but I can at least say that I've tried, take the leap. And that's where you find out, whoa, I actually
Mm-hmm.
went further than I had before. And that's an amazing feeling, the small victories. Whenever you take a leap, that's a huge victory. And one of the things that's really important is whether you make the leap or not, it's a lesson learned.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing bad about making the leap. If you fall, you will get up because you're going to call on people to help you get up. But also, you cannot at that point reevaluate, re-strategize, find out what you were missing in order to make that leap again, and then you try again. Like no matter what, taking the leap is going to be a lesson learned, and no matter what, a lesson learned as you developed and evolved. So I think it's a great idea. But I love Take the Leap. I love that it happens to be your last one, because I really do feel like it's an accumulation of everything that you talked about built up, and then saying, I now have faith in myself to take that leap.
Yeah, I love that. Taking, having faith in yourself. And sometimes it's, I have a picture on my vision board from last year that this current year that I'm looking at right now, because the year hasn't ended. And there's a woman on there, and it says more than meets the eye, and she's jumping, and it says, setting boundaries. And that is what I think it says setting boundaries up front. And one of the things that we don't do a lot of, I'll talk about me, is really set the boundaries. So I talk a lot about owning your yes and respecting your no. And your no can create that fence around you, that boundary around you, because sometimes we have to say no to ourselves. No to others so we can say yes to ourselves. Therefore, we can leap. And this is the thing about leaping. You know how I always say, how in church, my faith is Baptist. And so sometimes when you're about to join the church, and the pastor opens the invitation up and he says, if anyone would like to join the church, and inside of your spirit, because you get this bubbly feeling like the butterflies are rounding around inside of you, and that feeling like, should I do it? I got to do it. It's just something inside of me. When you get those feelings, that kaleidoscope of butterflies inside of you, that's when it's time to leap. When you're nervous, when you're scared, when you're starting to be like, oh my gosh, I don't know, just do it, because guess what's on the other side. And I'm so glad that God put Sean Shapiro that day in this whole Breakfast with Champion and coaching cocktails and conversations in my way to say, apply. Not only apply, but then it was like, did you apply? How's it going? The accountability just kept on going. Why? Because there was simplicity. Why? Because we talked it out loud. Why? Because we accessed our Rolodex when I didn't even know that I was accessing the Rolodex, but because you say it out loud, people are listening. Then you remember and you rely on your strengths. Know what your strengths are, and then you take that leap. I not only got in, then I got a scholarship. Then they wrote letters of recommendation, which actually was before the scholarship. And then I got all A's. Like, who does that? And ran for a campaign and won a campaign and. These are things that you have so many ands in your life. I want you to remember where you're standing right now and how you will leap into 2023. And if you're listening to this beyond 2023, how you going to leap into the next year too? And so want to open it up to JD, just if you have any final thoughts, and then we'll open it up to the floor.
I think just a final thought, if anything, is really this idea of accountability and intentionality. I think just entering into anything. I love the analogy that you used about sort of taking the leap in the butterflies and things. Allowing our unfamiliar to become the familiar, like that unfamiliar feeling of I'm nervous, letting that become your familiar to more often take the leap. Let the norm be, I'm going to take the leap. I'm going to take the leap. I'm going to take the leap, because we're surrounded by so many people who don't take the leap. And we're surrounded by so many people who are watching us take a leap just to know that it's okay. And if we don't build up, right. So if we don't build up that ability to lead others by example, then what are we doing? And it's okay to be a follower as long as you're following someone, but how much more awesome is it to be a leader and to be the person paving the way for others to follow? You've referenced the Good Doctor several times here, and she's paved a pathway for you. And he has paved a pathway for you, and look at what has happened as a result. Let's be the Good Doctor. So.
Oh, let's be the good doctor. I like that. Yes, he's not even here today, but let me just tell you, yes, yes, and yes. We had some folks come in, and I love that Veronica Love on LinkedIn said, start writing my own story. Yes. Reflecting on this previous year, and then talk it out loud and leap into what's coming in the future. What a great summary. I am the greatness that people haven't seen. Thank you. Yes, we are the greatness that others have yet to see. Listen, it's the end of the year. People are doing their, we call them PDPs, or their individual development plan and personal development plans now. They're doing some reflections. Don't wait until the end of the year to write down what you've done all year. Start now. I know at my Women's Weekend Renewal Retreat, there's some people on here that that has been at my Women's Weekend Renewal Retreat, is that we talk about not only the small wins, but let's start celebrating those now. Let's not wait until the end. What is it that you want to celebrate today? What is the accomplishment that you had today? How are we celebrating from last week? All of those things add up. So whether you're at work and now you're going into intentionally talk to your manager, think about what is it that I have brought to the table? How am I adding value? And how will I add value? What about having that conversation with your managers? Guess what? This is what I foresee for this year. This is what I'm committing to for this year. This is how I'm playing a part inside of this vision.
Absolutely.
Okay. Is there anybody? Oh, I love this. Siga James says, solid strategies. Thank you so much. Dr. Tangi said, yes, JD, speak that. All right. You want to open it up? Is there anybody who'd like to say anything?
I do, Dr. Walker.
Hey there.
Hey, thank you so much. First of all, welcome, JD, to our stage. Welcome you here. And Dr. Lolita, it was the end for me with you. You did, and you did, and you did, and you did. I love that. You had so many ands this year that made it so great for me. And JD, you talked about accountability, and you talked about speaking it out loud. Words are powerful. When you speak those words out loud, you hold yourself accountable because you heard yourself speak the things, and now you are responsible to hold yourself accountable to what you said. So I love that.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. At the top of, if you're on Clubhouse, you see the link that goes to my Women's Weekend Renewal Retreat. You guys, it's such transformation. And I will post a link. I have it here. I was going to share it. We don't have time today, but Robin Brown, she's typically inside of this room, not only for coaching cocktails and conversations, but also for Breakfast with Champions. And she has such a powerful testimony. And I want to share that today, but I'll put it on my socials. All of you guys can follow it on the socials. But I wanted to say thank you so much. Lynn Luckett said, be sure to have a balance with preparing, with planning, with reflecting and leaping. Yes, we can't put 1,000% into preparing because then we haven't acted, then we haven't reflected, then we haven't leaped. And so we want to make sure that we do that as well. I think we have time for one more person to leap in, if you like.
Dr. Walker.
Hey, Ramon.
Hey, I just wanted to say that don't forget, everyone, talking about Lolita's retreat. It may not be for you. I'm definitely not going to a women's retreat in a cabin, but women Lolita wouldn't allow me. But there's women in my life who I'm going to buy that ticket for.
Yes.
Remember, others we can help with that retreat. Thanks.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much, Ramon, because what I have found, you guys, is that spouses and loved ones have gifted this retreat to a loved one in their life, a powerful woman. And let me tell you, this retreat is 4 days of pure amazingness. And I don't need to sell you on it because other people have been and I can see transformation right before my eyes. But what I can tell you is this right here. It is pure power. If you think this is pure power, imagine me being inside of your face for 4 whole days, pushing you and leaning on you. Lynn Luckett said the retreat was epic. She was there. Absolutely. And Veronica Love, can you put the link on LinkedIn? I'll look on Clubhouse. No. I'll put it in LinkedIn. Absolutely. Thank you guys so much. If you leave with nothing else, it is START. And we want to make sure that you lean in to starting, into kickstarting. That's what this is all about. It is about kickstarting a renewed you, whether it's kicking yourself in the butt, kicking yourself for new beginnings, kicking out old habits, kicking it so that you can now start afresh and start anew. We want to say thank you so much for being here with us and for welcoming my little brother to the party. All right. Bye, you guys. And thank you.
Lolita, before you go.
Yes.
What is that affirmation? I have to write it down.
Oh, yes. It is, I am the greatness that others have yet to see. And then at the end, you put including me. I am the greatness that others have yet to see, including me. Make sense? Yes. Thanks, you guys.
Take care. Bye-bye.